Welcome to the Rooted Warriors, the podcast where the bonds of sisterhood are not just celebrated, but explored through laughter, tears, and everything in between. Join me and my two dearest friends as we dive deep into the roots of our own friendships, sharing stories and challenges. Whether you're looking for inspiration, advice, or just a good story, we're here to bring a piece of our sisterhood right into your life.
Hey there, Queen Bees. This is Kat, and welcome to this Rooted Warriors episode where we gather around the hive and honor the sacred shift nature designed just for us. Today, we're talking about menopause. Yes, that golden season when the buzzing slows, the hot flashes take center stage, and wisdom takes the throne. Don't fear the change, embrace it, because every queen knows when one cycle ends, another rich soul work chapter begins, rooting deep into the wild beauty of this rite of passage that was never meant to break us, only crown us.
Good afternoon, ladies.
Hello, hello.
Is it afternoon?
Well, I mean, we
Close
started for
enough.
morning. We're in a morning ritual
Good
today.
morning, ladies.
Good
I was thinking,
morning.
holy cow, we sat there and talked a long time.
Real talk today.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I'm excited. This
But
is something that we've all wanted to talk about.
Yeah, but before that, how about a little check-in since we haven't been together in quite some time?
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
It has been.
Yeah.
How have you been, sister?
Well, I have a new baby in my house.
So
So
exciting.
Big news.
Watching my daughter learn how to be a mother and try to navigate that. Other than that, I've got more free time to focus on other things. And so things have been really good.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. that
Nothing
is
more
good.
exciting than a new baby at home.
Oh my gosh.
Little Maxi Poo.
Little Maxi Poo.
How's he doing?
He's getting big.
Is he already? Huh?
Mhm.
They're like puppies.
He's so
With his
handsome.
double-
He just looks like a little man.
He does look like a little. He
Mhm.
looks like a little old man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does
he's
he?
cute.
Does he
Yeah.
look like kind of like Marcus's baby boy? How he looks, because he looks like a little man to me too.
Yeah, he's like that. He looks just like Jack.
Oh my God.
It's
Does
crazy.
he?
He's a
Like,
Jack dupe.
Copy, paste.
Yeah, copy paste Jack.
wow!
It's
Oh,
so
I'm
true.
looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah.
What about you, Miss Mo?
Doing good. This week I didn't really work, which was nice. I decided I was going to take some time off, and then I'm getting ready to go to the Pizza Expo this next week with Hannah and Ethan. So I'm excited about that.
Rude.
I know, because usually I go with Gina, so Gina's hella pissed.
She's like, I've been cut
This
off
has
the
been our-
list.
this has been our thing.
This has been our thing.
It's been our thing. So she's a little salty over there. But I'm going to take her
bit.
somewhere for her birthday later. So
Oh,
we're going to do a little friend
That's
trip.
nice.
Yay.
Yeah, so we still have to decide what we're gonna do. We haven't decided yet. But so I have that coming, so I'm excited about that. Jeremiah opens up Capital Coffee on Friday. So that will be cool because it'll be nice to get that thing going after, a month or so of working on that. We're ready to roll.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And early too. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a little
like,
early. We probably could have opened earlier, but we needed some time for training. And also Jeremiah had to bartend a fair amount the last couple weeks.
didn't you have some managers that were out of
Yes,
town?
they were on
Mhm.
vacation. So, which is good that they got it done before summertime. So
Seriously.
we're thankful for that.
That's cool.
Mhm.
What
That's
about
cool.
you, sister? What's been going on in your life?
Well, my mom moved in with me for a little while.
Okay.
You guys know that she was diagnosed with cancer. And well, I can't wait to have an episode about that. That's
Yeah.
going to be great. And she
We-
wanted to
we
come
need
on
to do
here,
that.
but we're a little concerned about her immune system. So
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I wanted to have a good talk with you guys. We had to make sure when she does come in that none of us have been around any sick people or anything like that. She's super susceptible, but
Yeah, of course.
not really going the way we wanted to. We would have really loved to attack this holistically, but it's so far advanced that she's going to have a couple treatments and some surgery. And it's a great topic for what we're going to talk about today because it's ovarian cancer. And a lot of this is hormonal sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can be. So we're all susceptible to it. And I'm really just kind of leaning on I'm leaning on God, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But also I'm staying as soon as I found out about it, it was very much like a fight. I was like, okay, what do we got to do next? Let's do this. Like I didn't even let myself really feel. And then I saw you guys and hugged you and went, and started crying. But
Right.
we just got to we just kind of go through our day. We wake up, we do vitals and check blood, and I have to make her breakfast, and I get to spend a lot of time with her, but it's definitely been like my full-time job recently. So, but it's part of life.
It is.
This part, you know what I mean? And so none of us are exempt from, our parents going before us or even struggling with them to help them survive. And we just hope that our kids will do the same with us when we get there. But I get a chance
privilege.
It really is.
It's a privilege. That's what I was going to say.
I wish I could go back.
I have the honor of being able to baby her. And she's always like, you don't have to do this. Or I was like, would you please just let me do what I'm doing? Because it is. And she'll go, I feel like I'm a burden. And I'm like, this is an honor for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I would be offended if you went to someone else. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's my right, like talk about rite of passage. Yeah. It's my turn. You took care of me for a long time. So yeah, I do appreciate that part of it. And I never go without the blessings and days get a little bit rough and things like that, but trying to fit everything in. But really, it's just kind of a slow down and think about things and do things very intentionally and try to ask a lot of questions and set things up. I know some doctors that are kind of...
Can I give you some advice?
Irritated with me. The doctors are irritated with me a little bit. Yeah, of course. Give me advice.
I would say, there's a lot of regrets from that year of taking care of my mom. But one thing I find myself doing constantly is looking through my phone for my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to hear her voice. I want to see her face, not just in a picture. Like I wish I had more videos. I wish I had.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yes. And I wish I would have known, but you get so caught up and nobody tells you.
Right.
So my advice would be film her.
That's a good idea.
Record her in your pocket just so one day, hopefully 10, 15, 20 years from now, when she does go, you have that to hold on to because you'll look for it.
I was going to have her start journaling, but now that you bring that up, maybe I should have her journal in her phone and record herself. So she's actually talking to something.
From my mom's voice,
her mannerisms,
for her movement. I have a couple Snapchat videos and I find myself looking back on pictures of like, did she have oxygen? Not have, where were we at in that part of our life? Right. But it's one of the things I get caught up doing so often. And I think I wish I would have just been able to stop and record her voice and hear her voice again.
Right. I have a suggestion. So we have the whole setup for our, when we go on the road, why don't you set up an area either in her room or somewhere in your house where she goes there for her daily journal and you videotape. You put it on and she talks into the mic and she just does her journaling through it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like a video journal versus writing.
Make like a little booth. Like, you've seen that on reality shows where they have like the journal booth or whatever, confession booth.
Right.
So you make something like that for her. You make it fun.
Right.
And she goes in there and she can journal through it. And you could be like, at the end, of you fighting cancer here and you winning, we can look back at it.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you have it for the next 20 years from now, like Gina said.
Right.
And you guys can go back to it and your kids can see what grandma was going through during this process.
It's Nana.
Yeah. And then you can, Nana. And then you can go in there sometimes and do your confessions. Greg can do his confessions.
Call it confessional.
Yeah.
Like a little
And then
confessional.
like if anybody else comes to visit and they've been around, they can go into the confessional.
Leave messages.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful thing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. I think you should do that. And we have all the equipment to do it.
All I gotta do is set up a tripod and like the GoPro or something.
I wouldn't do it on her phone.
Yeah, do it on your stuff.
Yeah, your stuff. My mom, I when she really started getting sick, I would think she had notes on her phone, all these places she wanted to visit because she was such a foodie, right?
Right.
And she had this list. And when she was well, she showed me.
Right.
And by the time she had passed on, she had accidentally deleted so much out of her phone that list was gone. Like almost everything was gone off her phone.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You're like, I wanted to go all those places.
Yeah.
Then, right.
I would have.
That's really cool. That's a good idea.
But when I travel, I bring her in a
Do you?
baggie.
Do you really?
I do.
You bring her
'Cause
like
you
Gail used to
can't-
bring her pot.
Yeah. Because you can't, I have a little urn, but you can't bring that into foreign countries, right? And you have to have permission
Have
that
you ever
you're going to
seen
do
me
it.
wear that crystal heart thing? It's pretty big. It's like a chunky 3D looking. It's made of glass. And I met a girl that actually does glass, and it's so beautiful. And I wanted it to look like you took a piece of the beach and just put it in a little casing, and then through it, it looks like sand, but there's some strips that go through it like that, and it's ashes, and it's my dad's. And I just think that that would be something you could wear and have her with you.
I brought her on the cruise, and I had a
She loved it. She had a
baggie.
great time.
She did.
She always wanted to go on a cruise. So I brought her with me, and we had like a lovely suite with a big balcony, and I went and stood out on the balcony, and I was going to let some of her go, and I couldn't.
Right.
And then I put her back in my suitcase. And then when we went to Mexico, we were right on the beach. So I walked with her down to the beach, and once again, I was going to let some of her go. And I was like, nope.
Let's take her to
it.
Hawaii.
Okay.
Let's take her to
Yes.
Hawaii.
So everywhere that we go,
Little
when I went
pieces of
to
her.
Georgia, when, we go to Arizona, wherever we've kind of gone, I just grab my mom and take her with me, because that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to travel.
She
wanted to
did.
travel
She's an
and eat.
adventurer.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, my mom could totally relate to that. Not so much about the traveling thing. Well, she'd like to travel, but more so adventure and experience things. Like she's not adventure. I'm sorry. Foodie.
Oh,
She
yeah.
loves food.
Yeah.
That's this whole process is really getting to her, because I'm like, no, you don't get to eat what you used to eat. You get to eat keto, and very strict keto. And then she has to do all these things. Like I'm giving her like colostrum. It's from actually cowboy colostrum. That stuff has been ingenious. Instead of doing Ensure drinks and things like that, the meal
Those are
supplements.
terrible for you.
Yeah. And she's super pumped about coming on to here. She really wants to. I thought she was going to say absolutely not. And then she was like, I would really think I would like that.
I told Monica, I wish we would have been doing this 10 years ago, and then have my mom on here, because she would have been a hoot.
Oh, she would have loved it.
gosh.
She would have wanted to come back for
Yes.
sure. She would have been our fourth permanent chair.
Yes.
We could never get rid of her.
No.
Yeah, right.
No. But I was telling Monica, I was like, I don't know. I said, I think that I would have loved to have my mom, and I think we should have Andy's mom on the show.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was like,
Well, Greg mentioned it to me that you brought it up. Mm-hmm.
So it would have been nice to have my mom. But those are just that's my advice to you.
I told her she could leave her little memoir or like when I say that, I don't mean because of necessarily death, but more so other women are going through this and they don't really know what to do. And it's like the subject we're getting ready to talk about right now.
Right.
There's just people are recording and they're putting out information, but it's so meaningful when the person is actually going through it right now. Like she can tell you about her kidney tube and like the fact that she has to get a port, and then now they want to do a biopsy, and how we were trying to fight that a little bit, trying to figure out, make sure that it's necessary before we tax her body more. And now she has to do 2 more treatments, and she gets to talk about those things. And
I think when it happens, you go into such a state of shock that it's hard to come out of that.
Right.
Right. And I think that talking about it and not being alone, I think when we face things like that, like your friend, that we go into such a shock that we're not reaching out.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about it.
And the momentum's going. So you're just like, we got to do this and this and this and this. And as long as you get those things done, you think your day is full and it's complete. But in reality, you haven't taken the time to really kind of slow down and talk to somebody, or to take care of yourself in a sense. I am definitely getting a taste of what it's like to be a caregiver and what you went through with your mom and things like that. And I know that as much as it's an honor and a privilege, it's also none of us want to have to experience that, you know?
We don't want our children to have to experience it.
No,
either.
but it's inevitable. I mean, unless you just quickly go, it's inevitable. So like really, I feel like it's like such a learning process, and is such a, like I said, no one is exempt from this. We don't get out alive. You know what I mean? And there's going to be bumps in the road.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to think that this is just one of her bumps in the road, but she's doing really good right now, like really good. But she has treatment on the 3rd and she hasn't been sick and she hasn't started losing her hair yet. So I think she wanted to come before she starts to get that brain where she feels like, she calls it chemo brain, where it's like she has a hard time keeping her thoughts together. She was a little bit like that when she first came to me. And then like diet and stuff we changed and she started to come back a little bit. Then she slipped back under. She had that really bad ascites where her stomach filled up with fluid. And between that and I don't even know why, but she just wasn't there as much as she was before. Now it's like she's there again and she's awake and alert. So I was like, are you sure you don't want to come? She's like, I'm really worried. I don't want to get sick. And because she feels great.
Yeah.
And she's just getting her strength back. So I don't know. It's been.
Another thing we could do with her too, if you wanted to, is we could Bluetooth her in if it felt safer.
Maybe we could do what we were talking about and put like
bubble.
Yeah. Right. We'll just
A bubble or
stick her in a bubble
Put her
right
in a
there.
bubble man.
Oh, I was trying to think, could she wear a mask and that? Well, before her oxygen levels were down. So she kind of was suffering like your mom was. And your brother bought like giant cans or like of oxygen just so we could stabilize her in case the ambulance needed to come. But that all had to do with ascites fluid pushing up on her lungs and stuff like that. So I don't know. Now she's getting more kidney function now that she's had that done. And things are looking decent right now. They're looking really good for the circumstances.
Good.
Yeah. So I told her, next time you're coming, she's like, I just don't want to get sick. And I was like, well, I'll make sure everybody's going to be healthy. But
so today we're talking about menopause.
We are.
And I think that the three of us can relate to this. And I'd like to make this less like gloom and doom, right?
Yes.
Like, I feel like it's such like a faux pas. Like we don't talk about it. And I never heard my mom talk about it. And it's just not a comfortable conversation. Right. And
I don't even know if they knew what was going on either.
Yeah, no. Which
Well,
is
I don't think they
wild.
did.
To talk about it.
It's
Yeah.
wild because it happens to every woman. Right.
Yeah.
Like this is.
You don't get out of it.
No,
You don't.
And we go through these stages in our life, right? Our youth, our puberty, then motherhood, and then maybe for a quick brief, maybe, end of your 30s, into your 40s, you have some good solid years.
Without the fluctuation of something. Right.
And then boom.
Perimenopause.
Yeah. And you have.
And it's legit.
Yeah. And I feel like it's like it's a sneaky snake or something. It kind of slithers its way in and it's invisible and you don't know, you don't know what to talk about. Like I started, my mom went into the hospital in July and that was my last period.
Yeah. It was the stress from it, the emotional
And
stress. From
yeah,
it.
I was,
happen.
45.
Really? That's so young.
That's what happened to my mother-in-law when her husband had a stroke. He was fairly young. I don't remember the age exactly, but I want to say he was like 43 to 46. And he had a stroke and then she never had another period.
Yeah.
Because she thought he was going to die. So it was super obviously stressful. And so she said that she missed like all the stuff. Like she didn't have to go through anything. And she didn't get the hot flashes and all that other stuff.
It just whammed through her
Just
into
done.
it.
But most of us are not that fortunate
Right.
to go through
To
it.
have
Right.
trauma enough to go through. Just
Yeah, I know.
joking.
Literally, it sounds so stupid.
And then you go to the doctors and you're like, I feel crazy. Can you check my hormones? Oh, your insurance doesn't cover that.
Or your hormones are fine.
Oh yeah. Or
That's another.
Yeah.
Well, you're not in menopause. Well, yeah, I know I'm not in menopause. I'm in perimenopause,
yeah.
and I have all of these issues that you're not willing to address for me, and I'm getting nowhere. Like, this is ridiculous.
But every other commercial on TV is for erectile dysfunction.
No, oh yeah, let's solve the wiener problem.
Our poise
Let's
undergarments.
solve the wiener
Let's
problem.
solve the wiener problem. Meanwhile, their wives are having all of these other issues and
Yeah,
don't even want to have
complete
sex with these guys.
Yeah.
Which leaves them like, wait a minute.
I got a wiener that's working now. And you don't want to do anything.
Problem?
What the hell's going on here? Why are you so moody?
I know. What's your
Why
problem?
are you sweating in the middle of the night?
I feel like it's so shitty because, right? It's because we have to go through like puberty and our body becomes foreign to us. And then we're in our baby making stage and then our body is
always some
ruined.
stage.
Yeah, it's ruined. And then you're child rearing and you're trying to make it through raising kids and marriages and working. And like, it's like always something. And it's like now there's silence in our house. Last year, we were just talking about, empty nesting.
Right.
And it's like
surprise.
it's like the golden age. And it's like, oh, now I can learn to be me. Oh, this, right? Something to get excited about.
Plot twist.
Yeah. Plot twist for sure. Right. And it's like, what do you do?
Right. And we're not just talking about like, we're talking about hot flashes and like how it changes our personality and things like that, but we're not even discussing yet like the bone loss and like your gut and you know what I mean? And adrenal fatigue and
your sleep issues.
Sleep cycles are terrible. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much to it.
Changes in libido.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yep. Vaginal dryness.
I know. Let's talk about it.
Like
Good
it's
grief.
terrible to think that I can fall
and break a hip. That's the start of the end.
Oh my God. This last week, my hip's been killing me. Yeah. I'm like an old lady hobbling around the house.
It's just not okay.
I'm like, what's going on? This is not acceptable behavior.
And we were talking about queen bees when we first came in here, but did you know queen bees never even hit menopause because they're fertile for life?
Really?
Up until the point that they die, those poor things.
But at the same time, I don't want to be fertile for life. Been there, done that, shop's closed.
That's funny.
So it's physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's emotional. It's so many things.
It's confusing.
It's confusing.
It makes you question like who you are and what's wrong with you, or is anything wrong with you, or maybe there's something wrong with the person that thinks that there's something wrong with you. Like you don't know what's going on.
Do you know that I know that you know that she knows? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's confusing. It just comes so, like I said, silently. Like I remember like 2 years ago, and I was doing something. And I think I was like mid conversation, just talking, and I could not find the word that I wanted to say. And then I'm like, but it's
now we have meno brain too.
Yeah, what and it was something like, something I would say all the time,
right?
And then I couldn't find it in my head, and then I found that happening more often, and you're just like, oh, okay, this is what happens when I get old. Oh, I've eaten too much sugar today. Like, what is it? Well, it's menopause brain.
It's menopause.
Yeah, like it's just
hormones.
The hormones, the brain fog, the
lack of the hormones. So there's a lot of misconceptions that come with menopause and perimenopause.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to go over a few of those with you ladies. So one of the misconceptions is that it happens overnight. So we all know that's not true.
No.
So the truth is menopause is a gradual process. Most women go through perimenopause for years before their periods actually fully stop. Hormonal changes fluctuate and symptoms can come and go. So I can totally relate to this because a couple years ago, I was having major issues with my periods where it was, I would go months, like 3 months with no period, and then I would be bleeding out.
That's me right now.
And so,
not right now, but that's
like,
me.
yeah.
I'm going.
So I went through that a couple years ago. And so Gina, that's when she started taking me for the IV treatment.
Mm.
And it actually got my periods back on track. So they were back to being
so
more
you were
rhythmic.
Depleted of something.
For sure. I think it was stress. I think we've talked about this many times, how stress affects a woman's body, males and females, but how it affects our bodies.
Cortisol's a killer.
Yeah. And I think I've carried a lot of that for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm.
So another misconception is women in their 50s and above go through this. The truth is perimenopause can start into the mid to late 30s, which I thought was kind of shocking when I saw that. and early 40s. Menopause mostly occurs between the ages, though, of 45 and 55, which makes sense because when all that started for me, I was 44. But it can happen earlier. So that's another misconception. So there's some younger women running around, which we would consider younger women in their late 30s, who don't realize that they're going through perimenopause because they have these things and they just think they're crazy. Hot flashes are the only symptom is another misconception.
Oh no, girl.
While hot flashes are very common, symptoms can also include sleep issues, mood swings, memory problems, weight gain, vaginal dryness, anxiety, and changes to your libido.
And hair loss.
Yes. Another misconception is you cannot get pregnant while going through perimenopause. The truth is your fertility decreases, but pregnancy is still a possibility until you have completed the 12 months without a period. So birth control is still necessary for those that do not want to get pregnant during that. Now I would like for you guys to talk a little bit about HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. And they say that it's dangerous, but that's also a misconception. So I want to talk about that a little bit because hormone replacement is not just a thing that is necessary sometimes for women, but it's also necessary for men sometimes after the age of 50. So
did you hear that, babe? I'm just kidding.
So what do you guys know about hormone replacement therapy?
Well, I know that if you had a full hysterectomy, they would put you on hormone replacement therapy.
Right.
And I know that it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy dose, right? No. So it's some people spend years trying the hormone replacement, and it that's how long it takes just to feel like yourself again. Right. We're losing all of them, like our estrogen, our testosterone, our progesterone, all of them. So you have to, the doctors is essentially now their job to figure out how to balance you.
Right.
You know, using synthetics, right?
Right.
So it's not natural.
It's not natural.
So it's,
no,
I can't, it's a replacement therapy.
Yeah. And sometimes I believe it's necessary though.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's finding, the balance of that. And part of the issue is, obviously we never had that before, our mothers didn't have it, our grandmothers didn't have it. But if you think about how like our grandmothers aged compared to how we're aging, it's a lot different.
Right.
You had told a story about a grandma, it was an aunt who was somebody's grandma.
Right.
And how, like, oh my God, she looks so old. And come to find out it was her 50th birthday.
Yes.
And, we don't want to age like that, right?
No.
But it's not just the physical aging of it. Like, I don't want to go through all of that they went through where I just feel done, depleted. I don't care anymore. My magic's gone, my happiness is gone. So if that's something that could help, I think it's something we should look at as an option.
So my father's mother, her name was Edith, and I believe that she was 32 or 33 years old when she had found out that she had ovarian cancer or cervical cancer, one or the other.
So young.
Yes, very, very young. So she went in for a radical hysterectomy. And like growing up, we would say my dad's side of the family is crazy because my grandma Edith was crazy, right? Come to find out, she wasn't crazy at all. She had a radical hysterectomy and did not go through hormone replacement therapy.
Bingo.
And instead, I think this is what I think like some mental health, right? When you are trying to fix something. And so they find that replacement, and her replacement was alcohol. And
I think
so
for
she
a lot of
became
women,
very, very crazy. I think there was like a running joke in my family that she stabbed my grandpa.
She probably did.
Yeah. So
Right.
I know.
I bet a lot of menopausal women could probably relate to that. They're like, I will kill you.
Yes, absolutely. But I think in situations like that, it's incredibly important
Yes.
to use the hormone replacement therapy.
And there's different kinds. I mean, you do have like the hormone replacement therapy. And like I said, I don't know a ton about this type of stuff. So I'm only speaking from like what I have learned. And one of the things is like bioidentical hormones that you can get. A lot of times it's something you put in your armpit, like a roll-on type thing. And it's usually like plant-based or made from soy, but it is, it mimics your body's hormones instead of using something super synthetic like that. We also were talking about wild yam cream.
Yeah.
And that can make your estrogen higher if it needs to be higher, or lower it if it needs to be lower. Same thing with testosterone. But what we also were talking about was that vaginal dryness.
It's a major issue.
Well, I actually started making that face oil that I gave you guys the samples of, and I put Siberian sea buckthorn oil in it, and that's what gives it part of it, gives it its color. But they're actually saying that
it's safe for sex.
Yes, it's got to be, because it helps with vaginal dryness down there and naturally supporting mucous membranes. It's like an internal skincare. So, sea buckthorn oil.
Oh,
I know.
Vaginal skincare.
I know, right? Hey,
is it like
that's
anti-aging?
marketing right there.
Take care of your vagina like you do your face.
Skincare for your vagina.
Oh my God.
When we say that word, we all cringe. Cringy. So what are some other things?
What are some other names for vagina?
That's not what I was going to say. That's not what I was going to say. Oh my God.
That's funny.
Oh my God. You know, I just now I'm on like this business mindset of like skincare for your hoo.
Yeah, right. For your lala.
Lala
cream.
skincare.
Lala cream.
Keep
Lala
that
oil.
thing from aging.
These are weirdos.
That's hilarious.
So what's some other natural supports that we could use?
Some other natural lube
that we could use to get us through perimenopause, Gina.
That's hilarious. Well, they say that our collagen goes down. Well, that's when
Which makes sense.
I mean, that's when our
I
face
look
starts
like a
to
skeleton right now. So yeah, loss of collagen
It's
is
because
one
you're
of them.
skinny. So this neighbor of my mother-in-law, Joyce, I swear to God, every story goes back to her, but there was this neighbor that she had, and she used to have these Christmas parties, and people would come over. And when she was at Bass Lake, but I think they did it back in Lakewood too. So it was a tradition for her. But anyways, so she had a group of all these ladies over, and they were probably all in their 80s at the time, 70s and 80s. And there was one particular woman that was there. She's a really pretty woman, and she had beautiful, flawless skin. And I was like, man, you are so beautiful. Your skin is just amazing. And she goes, well, you know what the secret is, honey? And I'm like, what's that? And she goes, see some of these other ladies, they're real skinny, so they look old. She goes,
stay fat.
She goes, me, I'm chubby.
My mom will tell you that.
So I look younger. And she goes, so you got to stay just fat enough.
To plump out some of the
And
fine
I was
lines.
like, this woman is my new hero. Because back then I was like starving myself all the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, she's my new hero. But it's true. When you have a little bit more weight, there's that fine line, you know. But if you have a little bit more, it helps make your face look a little bit more full. And gives your skin a tautness.
Yeah.
So eat a sandwich.
Eat a fucking sandwich.
Yeah, shit, man.
Pig out.
Eat a Sammy.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, you could do some bone broth too. They say that if I just
It
got
helps
through
with
making it.
collagen.
Yeah.
I just made some. In fact, I just put it in the freezer this morning. Some of it. I'm making soup tonight, but you can take. I just take 2 roasted chickens and I roast them for an hour, and then I boil them or simmer them for 8 to 10 hours, usually overnight, and then in the morning let it cool down and then put it away. But that's supposed to be super helpful and really good fats. Like people are saying, oh, it's fat free. Stop eating fat free things.
Oh God.
Like it's so bad that we eat fat free stuff. Fat
We need it.
is not bad.
We need
It
it
oils
for
the
our
joints.
brain.
It oils
we
the
need it for
joints.
so
Yeah.
many things. Yeah, it's crazy.
When I was vegan and a vegetarian for a long time, when I got off that, the whole reason why I went back to eating meat again was because I felt my brain, it literally was calling out for good fat.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like avocados. I
Right.
mean like lean meats,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like lamb
We need
and
meat.
things like that.
We do. You know, Costco, they have that big Kirkland thing of butter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all those. It's like 4 or
Yeah.
5 things. I go through one of those a week at
Yeah.
least. 'Cause,
Really?
Yeah. Everything. Butter on everything.
Right.
You know what's funny is
Yeah.
I don't like the taste of butter. So like I've always gotten my toast and stuff with no butter on it because I think it's gross. But lately I've been getting it on there and I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But I don't eat for pleasure anymore. Rarely, right? I just eat. I'm feeding my body. I do not like eggs, but everywhere I go, I order them. I'll have my eggs scrambled with extra cheese and extra butter, please, with a side of bacon and sausage and hamburger. Thank you.
They're like,
I know, right? They're like,
is this for him or you?
Yeah. I know, that's so much fat. Yeah. And you're like, no, that is good for you. Yeah. And it is how you source those things, obviously, but really, I think they demonize the things that are supposed to help us. Yeah. A lot of people are whipping tallow. Like beef tallow and putting it on their face, and they're swearing by it. They're calling it the new filler. Maybe I was going to say
shove
Botox,
that in our vagina.
Well, I don't think it's water soluble.
I just tease it.
Babe, get out the lube.
Get the tallow.
Get the tallow, buddy.
I'd be ordering tallow by buckets. Like,
I feel like Adam might like that.
Rolling around and meat fat.
He's like, we're carnivore. Get out the tallow.
Well, it says here that you should also be limiting sugar, caffeine, and alcohol. That these can worsen hot flashes and mood swings. Mm-hmm. One of the herbs that they recommend for mood swings and breast tenderness is evening primrose oil. Have you guys ever used this or heard of this?
Not primrose, rose hip oil.
Rose hip, primrose. Like you can, that would be something that would be put in a menopause tea. Yeah, that you would drink. Like yeah,
probably a lot of different things. You probably want to put more stuff.
Oh yeah,
all kinds of goodies.
Be one of those things.
All kinds of goodies. Now, where do we go to get our hormones properly tested? Because when you go to the doctor, they only do certain testing for that. Right. Where can we go where we get like the full panel, the real shit?
I have the best advice
and get it done
functional
all
medicine.
The time.
Yeah, because right now, just talking about this in front of our phones, when you go on Instagram, it's going to give you 1,000 different options of how to go get your hormones tested.
Yeah, right. She's saying it into her phone.
Right. You're gonna have to pay. I've seen some of them like a couple $100, $300-$400, and you go have bioidentical testing. All of the
is there
testing
some online
done.
ones that have that?
Yeah.
Like
they'll send it in the mail.
Like there's that Hims and Hers. The Hims is for the males, obviously. Hers is for females, and I think that they'll send you to like a Quest lab. They order the test for you. You go there, you get it all tested. I also think there's a few of the functional medicine people in the Modesto area, which is close to us.
Right.
And I'm sure in the big cities, they have a lot of them.
I know there's one in Modesto for sure.
I'm going to for sure do it because I want to see my panel, because the last time they did mine, they're like, yeah, you're not menopause. You're not in menopause. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm not in menopause. I'm in perimenopause. Like, where's my
I went to one like functional medicine. I paid like $600-$700 and they did like body scan. They did all kinds of things. They check you for markers for cancer,
they look for inflammation through heat to make sure you don't have tumors.
Where'd you go for that?
I went to San Jose.
I want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do this.
So part of the thing is if you don't get tested and you just start treating, unless you're using something like yam cream or whatever that will kind of balance anything out that's out of whack. I think that's why people kind of lean towards that, is because they haven't had the testing, but you can get cancer by taking the wrong hormone.
Yeah. You don't want to mess it up. You don't want to purposely, hurt yourself. You know, like I think you need proper testing.
Right.
To know where you're at before you can start medicating yourself.
100%. Even though people are like, but it's natural. And it's like,
well, it could still be dangerous. It could still be dangerous.
There's still a medicine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I had finally gone, and this was like maybe a year or less before I had my boobs done, went and had my very first mammogram. And I just didn't want to do it. I even went to the one lady where they do the heat, and she told me, you should go have a mammogram.
That's the only way to get a mammogram, is if someone like that says, I've noticed some of this.
And then I was like, oh, okay. So I went and had a mammogram. And then I was so scared to death. And I actually sent
I remember this.
The results to my brother, because around my breasts, there were lumps everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I sent it to my brother, and he said, it's calcium.
Yeah.
There's calcium deposits.
I have the same thing.
All over your breast.
Mm-hmm.
And when your body is lacking in a mineral, it overdoes another. So the opposite of calcium is magnesium. And so you're lacking in this. So you need to start supplementing yourself. And there should be more people that look back on medicine that has lasted us for thousands of years compared to Western medicine that's been around for 150.
100%. And magnesium is even just for that. It's also the glycinate and the malate calms the nervous system and helps with sleep and your muscles.
Yeah.
Aches, like if you have muscle
and
aches
magnesium is supposed to help us in perimenopause and in menopause.
100%. And in cancer, like all the way around. Most people are, they'll say most people are not magnesium deficient. That's BS. Most people are magnesium deficient.
I mean, to be so magnesium deficient that your body is overproducing calcium all over the place, right? So calcium is also something that runs in our blood system, is it not?
Yeah,
like
I think we
deposits,
naturally.
Yeah. That's how, is that not how things get clogged up?
Right.
Right. No, I mean,
true.
like aneurysm and things. Isn't that not always just a blood clot? It could be like I could be wrong, but calcium also flows through the blood.
calcium
I
is-
am not a heart doctor, nor am I a doctor, so I will choose not to comment on that.
Right? Well, calcium is the most abundant mineral in the human body, but 99% of it is stored in your bones and your teeth.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So you can remineralize and things like that, but I'm not sure about if like we're actually producing it in our body like that. I mean, someone would have to come on here and say,
Tell us.
you
Tell
can't
us.
get it from other things like grass-fed animals and things like that. But I don't know. I just know that that's where it's at.
So other things that we can do to help us with our menopause would be mind-body practices like yoga, which would help ease joint pain, improve sleep, reduce stress and anxiety. Meditation, mindfulness, helping to regulate our mood and improve our emotional resilience. Breath work can calm the nervous system and reduce hot flashes and anxiety, because as Gina was just telling us a hot flash story, and when she was telling it to us, which I hope that she'll share with you, you realize that it also causes an anxiety in you. And
It speeds up your heart rate.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Gina, do you mind sharing that story with the listeners? Because it was so great.
The one about Monday?
Yeah.
So we were out of town, Adam and I, and he left for a business meeting, and I was in the hotel room, and nothing was wrong with me whatsoever. I was just really TikToking, I'm sure. And I had a hot flash that just was not going away. It speeds up your heart rate, and you're like just waiting for it to go away. And I'm like sweating, and it was stronger than anyone I've pretty much had awake, because the week before I had kind of woken up in a puddle of just sweat, and then you're confused and you're just like throwing off your clothes and pissed, and you're like, why can't I sleep anymore?
Right.
True.
I'm just
there's
tired.
like, yeah, I'm just freaking tired, and I don't want to wake up soaking wet. So my heart's kind of racing, and I'm like, okay, this one's not going away, but I didn't want to open the hotel door, even though it was nice and cold outside. I just was waiting for it to go away. And as soon as it went away, another one came, and then my heart is racing again and again and again. And I just, hopefully Adam doesn't listen to it, because I didn't tell him the story, because I don't talk about menopause to him.
Right.
But
I don't know how many women actually talk to their husbands about the symptoms and get into it.
Like your body's changing, and enough is happening that now this man that, wants to look at me like I'm some sexy,
You don't want to talk about
sex
age.
machine model. And here I am, like, I'm having these hot flashes. Hold on with my dry vagina.
I wonder if Bob looks at me as a sex machine model. I don't know. I don't think that that's a thing, but sure, in Gina's mind, it's a thing.
Somebody's got to say it.
Somebody's ego's a little big this morning.
So after like 5 in a row, and now I have anxiety. Now I'm thinking I'm having a heart attack.
Right.
Like, I'm wondering,
now
like
it's a
I'm
panic attack.
clammy, and like just like my mind is just like racing, and then it's racing. Like, is he going to walk in when this is happening, you know? And so I walk over to the hotel door to just swing it open to get some fresh air, and I passed out.
Oh my God.
And it was a perfect way to pass out. I guess I melted kind of down. Like, I didn't hit my head. Like, I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember.
You have no idea.
But I don't have any marks on me. Right. But when I woke up, you know, our door faced outside and it faced the lake. Right. And it swung shut enough that it didn't close all the way, but it had closed like nodding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't click close, but it was just sitting there. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God.
How scary.
What's so weird is I'm literally reading that is super rare that you pass out from a hot flash. But what it can
the
do,
panic attack.
Five of them, right?
Well,
like
it can cause a panic attack.
Yeah.
And that will, because what's happening is when you're getting hot, your blood vessels are dilating, and it'll cause your blood pressure to drop.
Yeah.
And so it'll cause like lightheadedness and fainting. But if you're having it multiple times in a row, you may have been panicking and thrown yourself into a panic attack.
So I think like after like 5 and it's not stopping, like you used to 1 and making it through it, right? But it just
5.
Yeah, just
That's
5, 6,
wild.
I don't know. And then in my head, I was thinking a lot of things. Like my mind was rushing with, if this is this a heart attack?
What's going on?
Am I going to die right now? Like,
Right.
do I wanted to throw off my clothes and get in the shower. Like I didn't.
What do I do?
Yeah, I couldn't. I was like in a total panic that it just wasn't stopping.
Right.
So
Do you ever have low blood pressure
I
or
have
low blood sugar?
super low blood pressure.
See, I do
like
too, but
crazy low.
I wonder if, because your dad is hypoglycemic.
Oh, well, so am I.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if just mixed all
It
together.
could have just been everything.
Like
And I
hadn't
was-
eaten enough.
Yeah.
You were having a panic attack, having a hot flash. It was
Yeah.
all of those things, which
and
breath
upset.
work might have helped with that had you used the breath
I'm
work.
just joking.
What about getting consistent sleep? I think that's an important part to help us.
Like, I don't think that happens. And especially, and I never, like, in the last probably 2 years, I didn't think that not sleeping had anything to do with menopause.
Yeah.
It was always just like, oh, I need more melatonin. Oh, I needed to buy some more
Sleep.
gummies. And now I'm eating like 7 and 8 and I'm still up like 5 times
I
a
can't
night.
sleep.
Magnesium.
Yeah.
Honestly, it make you so tired.
My
I don't
best sleep
sleep.
is on the couch as we're watching a program. That's the only time I get some really solid sleep.
Yeah.
Because once I get in bed, I get the hot flashes.
Oh my God.
I am at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling.
That's
Like,
where
what
that's where the
is sleep?
magnesium comes
I'm
in.
like,
Once you
oh.
go to sleep, it keeps you there.
And then my joints are always hurting. That's been a thing. I'm in pains. And when I'm laying in bed, I swear to God, my pain's worse.
We're all too cute for this.
Way too cute. They don't know. They don't know because we
Yeah.
haven't been on YouTube enough, but we're pretty
we're,
cute.
We're
so
pretty cute.
Gina apparently is a sex machine.
Yeah, she's a sex machine though, so I don't know.
Oh, shit.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Hey,
goodness.
I don't want to disturb what he thinks of me. But I don't want to tell him he's wrong.
That's
I don't want to
funny.
confuse him
You
by,
don't wanna confuse
by
him.
any means. By any means.
I also hear, I listened to a podcast that was passed on to me by Monica, and she talked a lot about weightlifting and how important it is.
Increases your testosterone.
Yeah. And it, keeps us strong so we don't fall and break a bone.
Break our head.
We're so
And-
much more frail.
And that was the one with Halle Berry.
Yes.
And she has a group that she put together called Respin Core.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a community that provides supportive network where women can connect, share experiences, and they can foster a sense of belonging and understanding. Their content is they offer educational resources, expert insight, and up-to-date information to help women navigate the physical and emotional aspects of menopause. They also provide care, personalized health care plans, and access to health coaches, enabling women to manage symptoms and maintain overall well-being. So this was something that she started, and it's a nonprofit, and she started it because she was going through menopause. And she talked about how the doctor was with her. And it's really great. If you haven't listened to it before, you need to listen to her story.
Right.
Because here is a beautiful actress model who
probably didn't think she'd ever
age like this.
Age or hit menopause.
Right.
Yeah. And all of a sudden she's hitting something that she knew nothing about. And it, she talks about her journey, but through it, she's obviously talked to hundreds and thousands of women who have been on this same journey. And one of the stories that kind of stood out to me when I listened to that podcast was she had a male friend who had been married for 25 years, and he was going through these issues with his wife. And he had decided that he was going to ask for a divorce from his wife because she didn't love him anymore. And when she started to hear the whole story, she realized, no, this woman is just going through menopause, and he has no idea, and she probably has no idea. So she helped to, get them help, and they're, still happily married. But you can see, we talked about feeling unconnected, distant, things that you used to love, you no longer love. Finding your happiness.
I know I feel like my happiness is broken, and I have so many things to be happy about, but it's like trying to dig up that feeling, what does that feel like anymore? And
emotionless,
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
But this is what
I'm so happy.
So happy.
Yeah.
And just not just the emotional part, but the physical part that we're going through, and not feeling heard because we're not telling them.
Well, honestly, it kind of gets lost in and this is, men, come at me. I know you're going to be upset for me saying this because some of you maybe aren't like this, but I think that it gets put off as like an excuse, kind of then fix it.
Fix it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This isn't my problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's more serious than that. And
Right.
so I just think that we were also, before we started recording, we were talking about nothing left in the tank, kind of like a sleep bank when we don't get enough sleep, how you kind of accumulate hours that you need to make up for.
My happy bank is broke.
Yeah, right. It's in the negative
unfunded.
right now. So you're we're pouring from an empty cup, but your adrenals become the backup hormone factory when your ovaries stop working. And so they try to step in and make up the difference and produce DHEA, which converts into estrogen and testosterone. But when that happens, and if you're already if their adrenals are already worn out, we're already stressed and everything, instead we just crash and burn. And there's literally no hormone left or any kind of help in the background that's going to step in and take over for us. And the stress just from life is going to play a huge part in that. And being business owners, and having families, so I don't know. I just think it's like you said, like a happy bank.
It's a happy bank that's gotten kind of empty.
We're pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah. And I think that it's not just women that go through that and go through all these hormonal changes. Our husbands do too.
Oh yeah.
As men age, they lose testosterone. That starts as early as their 30s.
Are you having a hot flash?
I'm having a hot flash right now. That's why I disappeared for a minute.
She went to lose her shit for a minute.
Yeah, right. Don't mind Mo. It's
Sorry
fine.
about that. I was practicing my breath work. Had nothing to see here. But I think that our male counterparts go through very similar things, and they don't talk about it. I know that you guys have noticed that your husbands or boyfriends get moody themselves. They get tired. They, get jealous of certain things that they maybe before never got jealous of.
It's funny you bring that up. That's actually a thing. It's called andropause.
I 100% believe it.
Right.
Because I see it. I've seen it in my own husband. I've seen it in other men.
What are the symptoms that you see?
Lack of muscle mass.
That's one.
Feeling moody. Getting jealous when never getting jealous before. Male issues. Erectile dysfunction. We've seen that on every commercial.
I know, right?
So we know that's true. A lot of things like that. Hair loss, obviously.
Weight gain, especially in the belly area.
Feeling sad. They get that kind of sadness about them. And then wanting to do crazy shit out of nowhere. Why do they all of a sudden everything's fine, they're normal, and then all of a sudden they want to go skydiving or some bullshit? and they want to buy a Corvette, it's a midlife crisis.
So that happens typically like in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
And then it drops 1% per year.
That makes sense.
And I guess they have some like hormone replacement for men also.
They do.
Viagra?
No, but they have actual hormone replacement for men.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of men are on it and you don't even realize it. Just so you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of men take
They already
hormone,
know?
Yeah, they take hormone replacement.
Interesting, because they don't talk to their wives about it.
Because
or-
basically it's just testosterone that they're taking essentially, and they go get tested every month, and it helps them with all these things. It helps with brain fog. All the things that we're going through, they very, very much go through. It's just not looked at the same.
And it looks like they have some natural support for men too, just in case they think I mean, we're not making them matter at the moment, but zinc, ashwagandha, maca, vitamin D, healthy fats, strength training, like all this kind of the same things for us a little bit,
It's just a different hormone that they need versus us.
I'm sure chronic fatigue and stress don't help them.
100%. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Gina, you listened to a podcast this week that had to do about menopause. What was the name of that podcast? Do you remember?
Is it hot in here?
Is it hot in here? So that's one that we would suggest.
It's by Dr. Naomi Potter.
Okay.
I really liked it. I listened to one of them twice. I liked it so much.
You said you got emotional from the first one.
I did. I listened to it second time.
Totally
the first
related.
time I cried. Yeah, there was a lot of, because I feel like, there's a lot of symptoms and we can Band-Aid them, or we can go find some ashwagandha and we can drink teas and we can go do all these things. And it's so tough, but it's also a mental toll. Right.
Sure.
And I think it's like you get to this.
We're too tired too.
Yeah. It's like, we talk about life in seasons all the time, and maybe this is our becoming or bestowing. Or, and it's like,
there's a transition phase.
Here I am. Mm-hmm. I'm a couple days away from being 50, and I find myself looking backwards a lot. Right. And just looking at, like, if you looked at your life like a book, right? What does each chapter look like, and the lessons and the forgiveness and things like that, things that we don't give ourselves enough credit for, I just feel like I'm an emotional person anyways, right? And that's how I run, is on my emotions, and so it's not just physical. It's like there's so much emotion involved in it, whether it's rage or forgetfulness or anger or, what's the weirdest thing you've cried about, so far,
nothing. You know what I mean? Just started crying.
All, right. Yeah. Or raged about, the other day, I walked into the bathroom and there was toothpaste in the sink, but it was like, it could have just been rinsed down. He could have just rinsed it down when he spit it out of his mouth, but there's this big blob.
Well, we're going to need to break up.
Yeah, it's over.
So out of nowhere, I'm like looking down at it and I'm getting teary-eyed this is the reason, this toothpaste in the sink, and I'm going to lose my shit. I was like, pick your fights. And he walks in and I was like, oh, hi, honey. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a little marker up on the mirror. And he's all, thinking I'm all being all, I'm going to just write you a note on the mirror. And he's all, oh, that's my angel. She's so sweet. I'm all, that says, rinse your fucking spit down the drain, dude. What does this take?
Sex machine in action.
How old are we? Takes 2 seconds. And he was like,
oh, so this isn't sexual.
Yeah.
This isn't intimate.
Slowly backing out of the bathroom.
Right? I'm sorry, but
no, I'm not sorry. And by the way, like, if you can't do that, like, I picked a very big fight.
That's so lame.
And
you waited out and you went with what you decided.
You waited out and you went with what you knew was wrong.
It was very intentional.
Yeah. It was horrible. And I was right. Like, just rinse your spit down the drain. Like, I don't. And then I was like, so here's another example, Adam. Okay. So here's another example. I washed his clothes. I made sure he had his golf clothes for the next morning, right? So
Right.
he's like, where's my blue sweater that I can pop my collar out or whatever, right? And I'm like, babe, actually I got up 15 minutes ago, ran downstairs where it's freezing, turned on the dryer. So that sweater is going to be warm when you put it on and get in your car and drive away because I'm a queen, right? So he leaves, he goes golfing. I go downstairs to get the rest of the clothes out of the dryer. And I walk in there and I'm like, holy shit, what the hell happened in here? He literally bent over the dryer and pulled things out and threw them everywhere. I'm literally on top of my washer machine with my arm down the back, trying to get out my clothes. Thank you. Thank you.
Did he have a temper tantrum?
No, he was
in a hurry.
Yeah, so I was like, can you just be more mindful about the toothpaste?
Mindful.
And he's all, and now the clothes? I don't do anything right. And I'm like, oh my God. So now this is my fault? Worse. But it was menopause.
Well, menopause directed the timing and the amount of rage. You weren't wrong.
Yeah.
But your timing was wrong.
Right.
Your delivery may
And
have
your
been a little
rage-
askew.
Your rage might have been a little extreme.
The rage no one talks about.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think it's like for not feeling heard, not feeling appreciated,
Mhm.
not feeling loved. Like that all goes in one little basket to the amount of rage that you have by the time you've reached menopause.
Yeah. So
You
if
just tuck it away until
Yeah.
it
Until we
just
explode.
about toothpaste. So if menopause was a song, what would your song be, Andy?
Ooh, this is hard.
menopause was a song.
This is so hard.
Be like, this girl is on fire.
Oh, that was a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I don't know.
Genie in a bottle.
Genie in a bottle.
Rub this bottle, see what you get.
Or don't rub this bottle.
Yeah, dude, proceed with caution.
That's a good one. I
That's
don't even
so
know.
hard. Yeah, that's really hard. Give us some examples, Gina. I know you got a
I
fucking
know,
list
right?
over there.
It just says like example would be Alicia Keys, This Girl's on Fire, or Let It Go, Let It Go.
That should be my theme song.
I want Let It Snow, Let It Snow. It's so freaking hot in here.
Heat wave.
It says how many yeah. How many times this week have you walked into a room and forgot what you were doing
Oh,
there?
every day. Every day it happens multiple times a day.
Yeah.
I feel very sidetracked when I'm doing that. I'm like, why am I here?
I have been talking
is
on my
purpose?
phone,
Yeah.
like with my phone like this and looking for my phone at the same time.
I just did this with my glasses. I had my glasses on my head and I was looking for them. And then
Done it.
I
Mhm.
was at coffee and I told him, my God, where is my phone? And he had my phone. I had literally just handed him the phone to show him something. And I was like, dude, where's my phone? I just handed him the phone. And he's like, Mom, it's right here. Like, what a psychopath.
No, yeah.
It's right there. You just handed it to him.
It's such a, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you got me on the song thing and now I'm cracking up because it's not just those. It's like Numb from Linkin Park.
Bro.
Seriously.
Bro.
Anyway, You Don't Own Me. Or Creep by Radio. Or Take It Easy. I was like, shake it out.
Shake it out.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
There's just so many and I'm cracking up
love
over
it.
Survivor.
I love
This is
we
the
are
list.
survivors.
Oh my
Well,
God.
I mean, I think this was a great episode. I think we're touching the bases of menopause. There's
Yeah.
so many layers, and that's why there's these great resources
Yeah.
like Holly Berry's Respin, the different podcasts that are out there.
At least someone's talking about it.
People
now.
need to
Yeah.
be talking about it. We need to be talking about it.
We need to be educating our daughters. Not that I have any, but you know what I mean.
exactly.
Need my daughters to
100%.
be someday.
Exactly. Your daughter-in-law's to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I appreciate that there's some, celebrities out there getting the word out because it helps to bring attention to this.
Especially they're beautiful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you don't feel beautiful when you're going through this.
definitely
I
don't
woke
feel
up today and
beautiful.
was just like,
Well,
I
unless
don't
you're
feel
Gina,
like
you
I'm-
feel like a sex machine.
Well, there you go.
I said supermodel.
Supermodel
also.
sex.
There you
Sorry,
go.
I forgot about
I want
that.
to be Gina when I grow up.
I want to be Gina when I'm going through this.
Hey, I heard it's fake it till you make it.
Yeah, there we go.
Right?
That's exactly what we do.
Until
But-
you believe it.
Yeah, but this is a great episode.
We love you all.
Oh, Gina's got one
Whoever's
more
going
thing to
through
add. This is Gina's passion, guys.
Is if you had to describe menopause in 3 emojis, what would they be?
Well, the fire emoji. We all know that, obviously.
the covering my eyes emoji.
That's a good one.
The monster. The little
wine
red
glass.
monster guy.
Oh, the little green monster guy. I like that guy. The monster. Let's see what else.
Tornado.
The bomb.
No,
a dark cloud.
The dark cloud. I would be the dark cloud. Yeah, I like that
Oh
one.
my
A
gosh.
crying face.
Yeah. I've
Or
got
the
a
little
lot.
twinkle glitter one because you're like shining from perspiration from your hot flash.
Oh
Oh my God.
Well, this was fun.
It was
It
fun.
was.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Okay.
Hey, tribe. This episode is your reminder that menopause is not the end. It's a powerful transformation into the new era of wisdom, strength, and self-discovery. You are not alone in the waves, the heat, or the stillness. You, my friend, are evolving. So give yourself grace, surround yourself with support, and do not be afraid to talk about it. Let's lift the veil and break the silence together. Until next time, stay rooted, stay real, and as always, this is Mighty Mo. Feel blessed, be blessed.